Form Check Fridayians. I competed in Pilsen in the Czech Republic at Equipped World Championships yesterday. Hopefully I did well. As of the time of filming this, I'm 1 week away, but in real time, when this video drops, I will have competed yesterday. Hopefully I shared some awesome status update about thanking all the people and feeling good and didn't just have to drink to forget. So anyways, getting on with it. First submission comes from Jensen. My man Jensen out east. What's up, dude? Good old-fashioned equipped guy doing some equipped lifting. Now his bench press here, honestly, Jensen looks really good, man. My equipped bench has been a garbage fire lately, and this looks better than most of what I've done this whole training cycle. I don't have a whole lot of critique for it. I think it looks good. Keep doing what you're doing. Deadlifts, however, now he mentions that he's finding the lockout a little bit harder than off the floor. That's normal in a suit, at least for myself. I noticed that my sticking point and the sort of strength curve of the lift changes a little bit in the suit. I think that's very normal. One thing I'm noticing is you're getting a little bit pushed forward out of the suit as you initiate the pull. So you can see the hips come up and then his weight shifts forward ever so slightly, and you can see it increasingly more as the weight gets heavier on the bar. So the biggest thing that I would try to cue you to do, Jensen, is I would try to cue you to be a little bit more patient, use your quads a little bit more, and stay sat back in the suit a little bit more off the floor. The biggest thing is just patience and not letting the suit throw you around. I'm not sure exactly how your raw deadlift looks, but honestly, the biggest thing that helps me thinking about how I deadlift in a suit, and hopefully I deadlifted a whole lot of weight yesterday in my suit, is to try and deadlift like you're raw and just ignore the fact that the suit is cutting your thighs in half. Hopefully that helps, man. Your squats, as you can see here, are good, and I'm almost envious of the amount of depth you can get in your suit. So good on you, man. I'm also just stoked to see a younger guy like yourself getting into the equipment in Canada. So please keep doing what you're doing, man. That's awesome. Now our next submission here comes from Vincent, and Vincent's doing some pause squats here. Excuse me. Vincent's doing some pause squats here. The biggest thing I'm noticing, two things actually. Number one, it looks like your bar position's a little bit high for your mechanics. You're very tilted forward, your gaze is down, and I would like to see you with that bar position even just a ½ inch lower on your back. Try and bunch those rear delts up, find a spot where it sits comfortably, and see how that goes for you. The other thing I'd like you to try is, like I said, your gaze is down. Your gaze is really far down. It looks like you're kind of looking between your feet. Now, as the weights get heavier, a lot of times, that's gonna cause you to kind of crumple in your upper back. So what I would do is I would raise your gaze until, from a side angle, your neck is neutral and in line with your back angle. Hopefully that helps, man. As with any of these suggestions, obviously they're just suggestions. I don't know for certain that everything is gonna help or fix people, but this is what I would try if I were your coach. Next up is Vincent, another Vincent, and this Vincent is doing some deadlifts. Now, the biggest thing I'm noticing here is it looks like we're losing a little bit of position off the floor, so I think we could keep a little bit more of a stacked back angle, keep a little bit more extension in that mid to low back. The other thing I'm noticing is towards lockout, and this is kind of interesting, but it looks like you're having a really hard time getting a good clean lockout. Looks like maybe the knees aren't quite locked, and as you get to the top, you're really just kind of extending your back. I think what you need to do is try to extend your hips and squeeze your butt muscles so that you can get full hip extension, because that's gonna allow you to stand up with the bar, lock the knees, and present a really, really good locked out, especially in competition, locked out position. One thing that I think could help with that is, again, that sort of bracing of pulling the ribs down on top of the abs, locking the lats down behind you, and just really focusing on keeping your trunk rigid and driving the second half of the movement by just pushing your butt. Squeeze your butt. Try not to extend your back. You can see in these videos, as you get to the top, you're really like extending your back and pulling through with your back. Let's do that with your hips. Hopefully that helps, but that's the biggest thing that I see with your deadlifts, buddy. All right, now this next one's kind of an interesting case. This one comes from Ryan Lowe. Now Ryan took a freeze frame screenshot of exactly what's going wrong here. He knows what's up, but he wants to know how to fix it. So what's happening, as you can see here, his right knee is caving in, his hips are shifting over to the left, and his hips are getting really twisted out of the bottom. Now, the biggest thing you can do to fix a janky squat like this is lower the weight and don't squat like that. If you don't do it, you won't do it. That sounds like really crappy advice, but the best way to repattern a squat is to lower the weight, squat the best that you can, and if you end up doing the mechanic that you don't want, that's a missed rep. You're gonna need to lower your max, you're gonna need to lower your working weights, and you're gonna need to work with weights where you can refine proper technique. You've obviously ingrained this pattern, whether it's a weakness from leg to leg, a little bit of maybe a mobility difference from side to side, a little bit of a strength or stability difference from side to side. Either way, the best way to fix it is gonna be to squat properly and really cultivate better mechanics in your squat. It's not fast, there's no like sexy, cool movement, like the hip airplane that you're just gonna do and it's gonna fix everything. Things kind of don't work like that. What you can do is you can try incorporating other squat variations where again, you're really working on harnessing and becoming better at that proper squat mechanic. So if you notice, now if we switch to the video, if you notice, out of the bottom is where he's having most of these issues. So if we can get you stronger and more coordinated out of the bottom position, that's gonna go a long ways to your squat. So things like 303 tempo squats, where you're going 3-second eccentric, no pause, 3-second concentric. So you're essentially slowing down the range of motion. That should allow you to get some better awareness of where things are in space and allow you to, again, push for that better technique. Things like pin squats and pause squats, those are gonna force you to concentrate on that bottom range of motion and coming out of the bottom without relying on the stretch reflex and being able to maintain stability and control throughout your full range of motion. I wish I had like a real quick, sexy, fast answer for you, but the biggest thing is just to take the time to fix it right. Kind of sucks to hear, but that's what it is, man. Now our last submission for today comes from Ivo. Now Ivo Wings is his name, and I think that's really sick. He's from the Netherlands, so shout out to the Netherlands. Thanks for submitting your video, buddy. This is a bench press, in case you can't tell. Now from the side, it looks unassuming, not much wrong. Don't really see too many issues, but if we show the top-down angle, you can really see that he's got one shoulder blade that's sitting much higher than the other. Now he also says that that shoulder blade, I believe it's his right shoulder blade, is causing him some pain after his workouts. So he's finishing a workout and noticing that he's got an ache or some pain, and his shoulder's bugging him after a workout. Now what I would say is you simply need to try to get a little bit more symmetrical in your setup. It's gonna feel like, so for you, because you're used to being like this, that feels normal and neutral to you. It's gonna feel like your right shoulder blade is 4 inches below your left for you to get to a neutral position. But that's what you're gonna need to do is keep filming from this angle so you have feedback and get yourself into a bit more symmetrical position by really cranking in that right shoulder blade and holding it tight throughout your set. If your shoulder blade is up or forward at all, if it's elevated or protracted for those anatomically minded, it increases the risk for impingement and it kind of closes up some of the space in that joint so it can get a little bit more beat up, and that's probably what you're feeling. So if we can get that shoulder blade cranked in there a little bit better, I think that'll go a long ways. It'll even things out, and it should stop that right shoulder blade from hurting after your workouts. Anyways, guys, that's it for today. Thanks again for submitting your Form Check Friday submissions. They go to calgarybarbell2@gmail.com. And as of today, we are wrapped up to August 9th. If you liked the video, leave a like, hit that subscribe button to stay tuned for more of this kind of stuff, and we'll see you guys in the next one.